Alrighty, guys, we improved to 6-0 in my last 6 extra daily bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. But before we get into some more of that, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video here today for Saturday, August 27th, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I've been doing sports picks for free right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And once again, I'm 6-0 in my last 6 extra daily bets on that website. Now, the extra daily bet is a package that I offer, and you can access that membership for the price of, well, a cup of coffee. And as an added bonus, if you sign up for my extra daily bet, I'm going to throw in my daily best play-in for you absolutely free. So you're going to get access to 2 of my personal bets every single day, all the way until September 1st. Now, I do currently have over 635 members who are signed up and active on my site right now. And if you want to see my current sports betting record, you can do that for free right now by going to the homepage. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, real quick, guys, some of you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Angels squaring off against the Blue Jays, 3:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's -155, total 7.5. Alek Manoah for Toronto, Shohei Ohtani for Los Angeles. Now, Sho's had a real solid season on the bump. He's got double-digit wins on the year along with a 2.83 ERA. Now, he's also struck out 167 batters. Now, the Angels as a team, they're also coming fresh off a 12-run beatdown of Toronto just last night. Mike Trout currently has a club-best 27 home runs. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani is the team leader in RBI with 75. Now, they're taking on a Blue Jays team who's had a real tough time cashing in on the run line this year. Out of 62 home games this season, the Blue Jays covered in just 38% of those contests. And as good as Alek Manoah has been this year, the Jays lost in their last 3 straight Manoah starts. Now, total-wise, Toronto did go 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, the Angels saw 5 out of their last 8 on the road fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Angels plus 1.5, under 7.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Rays Red Sox, 4:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay's -1.25 on the road, totals 8.5. Jeffrey Springs for the Rays, Rich Hill for Boston. Now, the Red Sox have done a nice job getting on base at Fenway. They're currently in the top 5 in the league in home hits per game. They're led by Xander Bogaerts, who's hitting a team-best 301 at the dish. Meanwhile, Rafi Devers is the club leader in homers and RBI. No real surprise here, guys. The Sox are currently in the top 10 in the league in team batting average. Now, they're taking on a Tampa team on the other side of things who plays their worst baseball on the road. They have a .450 win percentage while traveling. And they're also winning only 40% of their divisional road games. When it comes to offensive production in this one, the Rays do strike out an awful lot at the plate. They're in the bottom 10 in the league in strikeouts per 9. When it comes to the total, Jeffrey Springs saw his last 6 starts fall under the number. As a matter of fact, the Rays have gone 14-3 to the under in all of their spring starts this year. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, on the other side of things, they saw unders in 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Tampa Bay. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Boston plus 105, under 8.5. Next game, Pirates, Phillies, 6:05 East. Philadelphia is the $2.70 favorite, totals 9 runs. Kyle Gibson for Philadelphia, Tyler Beede for Pittsburgh. Now, Bede's got just 1 win on the year with an ERA in the 4s. The Buccos are also on a 6-game skid, and they have one of the worst hitting lineups in the National League. These guys are averaging only 3.6 runs a game, and they're hitting only 220 as a team. They're also facing Kyle Gibson, who's 8-5 on the year with 105 strikeouts. Meanwhile, as a team, the Phillies won their last 5 straight, and they averaged just about 6 runs a game during that time frame. Of course, Kyle Schwarber, he has a National League best 35 home runs. He's also 20th in the entire majors in runs batted in. Meanwhile, teammate Bryce Harper, he's back on the roster. He's currently hitting .317 on the season. When it comes to the total on this one, 6 out of Philly's last 9 contests at Citizens Bank Park got over the number. Meanwhile, the Pirates went 80% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia -1.5, over 9. Next ball game, it is going to be Dodgers taking on the Marlins, 6:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are -$2, total 6.5. Dustin May for Los Angeles, Sandy Alcantara for Miami. And even though Sandy's been great, he's probably not going to get the run support he needs. The Fish are currently in the bottom 5 in the league in OPS at the plate. They're also averaging less than 3.8 runs a game for the entire year. Now they're squaring off against a Los Angeles team on the other side who won 6 out of their last 7. And they actually averaged a staggering 8.5 runs a game in those victories. Now, Mookie Betts has a team-best 29 home runs. He's 8th in the big leagues in that category. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman, he's hitting a team-best 326 at the plate. He's almost leading the bigs in that category as well. And no real surprise here, guys. The Dodgers are currently leading the entire major leagues right now in runs per game, team batting average, and team OPS. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, LA's gone nearly 61% to the under in all of their road games. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, the Marlins saw 6 out of their last 10 fall under the line. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers -1.5, and the under 6.5 runs in the very tight window. Next ball game, Reds, Nats, 7:05 East. Washington's -135, totals 8.5. Paolo Espino for Washington, Luis Cessa for Cincinnati. Now, the Reds are coming fresh off a 7-3 win just last night against Washington. And out of their last 10 meetings with the Nats, well, these guys have averaged over 6 runs a game, really having little problem putting runners across the plate. Now, pitching-wise, well, this Reds pitching staff, they actually do a nice job of striking batters out. I know they've struggled with walks and giving up runs and giving up hits, but strikeouts are up for the Reds. They're actually in the top 10 in the league right now in strikeouts per 9 on the mound. Now they're facing a Washington lineup who has a ton of problems producing runs. They're averaging only 3.8 runs a game. They also have Paolo Espino on the bump, who's yet to record a win in over 85 innings of work. Espino's 0-5 on the year with an ERA in the 4s. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Washington's last 4 ball games at Nationals Park got over the number. Meanwhile, Cincinnati went 6-2 to the over in their last 8 on the road. I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati +1.5, keeping this one close, and the over 8.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Tigers, Rangers, 7:05 East. Now, both teams are -110 with the total at 8. Dallas Keuchel for the Rangers, Eduardo Rodriguez for Detroit. And even though Rodriguez has pitched well, he still has a losing 2-3 record and a 1.34 whip. And aside from winning just 31% of their road games, this Tiger lineup is the worst in the game right now. They're dead last in scoring, dead last in OPS, and of course, no real shocker here, guys. Detroit hits fewer home runs a game than any other club in the majors. Now, they are taking on a Texas team on the other side who won 6 out of their last 10, and they averaged over 6.5 runs a game during that stretch. Of course, with those numbers, these guys really not having much problem getting on base. Of course, Nate Lau, he's leading the club in batting average. He's hitting just about 300 at the dish. Meanwhile, Corey Seager, he leads the franchise in homers with 26 of them. And speaking of home runs, well, the Rangers have been very dangerous with regard to hitting the long ball. They're actually in the top 10 in the majors right now in home runs per game. When it comes to the total, Texas did go 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, the Tigers went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Rangers minus $1.10, under 8. Next ball game, it is going to be Rockies Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The New York Mets are the $2.50 favorite. Totals 8.5 runs. David Peterson for the Mets, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's got a losing record and an ERA dangerously close to 5. He also comes into today's start with a 1.42 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, Colorado lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they're actually one of the worst road teams in the National League. They're actually winning only 30% of their ball games away from Denver, and they're currently in the bottom 3 in road scoring. Now they're they're facing David Peterson for New York, who's going to get the start here today. And he's been very tough to hit against this year. Peterson's 6-3 on the season with an ERA in the 3s. And even if Peterson doesn't pitch well, these Mets hitters are in the top 5 in the majors in runs per game, so they can certainly keep up with anybody offensively. Pete Alonso's second in the bigs in RBI with 105 of them. He's also 4th in home runs with 31. Meanwhile, Jeff McNeil's the club leader in batting average. The second baseman's hitting .322 at the plate. Now, when it comes to the total, the Mets are 34-27 to the over in Flushing, Queens. Meanwhile, Colorado went 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Mets minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next matchup, it is going to be Orioles Astros, 7:10 p.m. East. Houston's minus 180, totals 8 runs. Christian Javier for Houston, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. And even though Dean's pitched well this year, he has seen his whip creep up to a 1.30. The O's also play their worst baseball on the road. These guys have a .453 win percentage while traveling. They're also having a pretty tough time getting on base. Baltimore actually finds themselves in the bottom 10 in the league in team batting average. They're also facing Christian Javier, who has 12 wins on the year and a 1.13 whip. Now, the righty's also got himself an ERA in the 3s along with 104 strikeouts. And in addition to winning 6 out of their last 9, the Stros have also been a legit threat to hit the long ball this year. These guys actually rank in the top 5 in homers. And they're led by Yordan Alvarez, who's hit 31 round trippers on the year. Now, this guy can do more than just hit homers. This guy just is all around a threat at the plate. High batting average, high OPS, a lot of RBI. Alvarez pretty much doing it all. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Houston's last 4 at Minute Maid Park fell under the number. Meanwhile, the O's went 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Houston minus 180, under 8. Next ball game, it is going to be Cubs Brewers, 7:10 p.m. East. Milwaukee's the $2 favorite, total 7.5. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Drew Smyly for Chicago. And even though Smiley's record is lackluster, it ain't for a lack of trying. The lefty's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.22 whip. The Cubbies have also done a real nice job cashing in on the run line lately. They're 7-3 against the number in their last 10 ball games. Nico Horner's leading the franchise in batting average at the plate. Meanwhile, Ian Happ's the club leader in runs batted in. Now they're facing a Brewer team who's on a 3-game losing streak, and they also took the loss in 6 out of their last 9. Now the Brewers have also been pretty bad covering the run line. They're actually cashing in on the run line in just 38% of their divisional ball games. And even though Brandon Woodruff's been real solid on the year, I mean, we're talking about one of the better pitchers in the game, their lineup has struggled hitting the baseball. They're actually in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per 9, and they also have one of the worst team batting averages in the National League right now. Now, when it comes to scoring, Milwaukee went 16 and 11 to the under against the NL Central at home. Meanwhile, Chicago went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cubs plus 1.5, under 7.5. Next contest, it is going to be Diamondbacks taking on the White Sox, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Arizona's minus 120, totals 8 runs. Merrill Kelly for Arizona, Davis Martin for Chicago. And despite just a 2-3 record, Davis Martin has shown some decent stuff here this year. As a matter of fact, he comes into today's start with a respectable 1.19 whip. When it comes to hitting the baseball, this White Sox lineup has had little problem getting on base this year. They're actually in the top 5 in the league in team batting average, and they strike out fewer times a game than most clubs in the American League. Now, typically we talk about Timmy Anderson, but it's actually Jose Abreu who's leading the squad with a .307 batting average. Meanwhile, Andrew Vaughn's the team leader in runs batted in. Now, they're taking on an Arizona team on the other side of things who wins only 41% of their road games. And as good as starting pitcher Merrill Kelly's been, well, the D-backs lost in 4 out of their last 5 Kelly starts. They actually scored just 7 total runs in those 4 losses. So this is a team who's not been giving Kelly a lot of run support, despite how well he's been pitching. Now, total-wise, oddly enough, Arizona saw their last 6 interleague road games get over the total. They're also 12-4 to the over in all of their contests against the American League. Meanwhile, Chicago saw 3 out of their last 4 at Guaranteed Rate Field get over the line. I'm going to lean toward Chicago plus $1 over 8. The next ball game, it is going to be Padres Royals, 7:10 p.m. East. San Diego's the $2.20 favorite, totals 8.5 runs. Yu Darvish for the Pods, Daniel Lynch for Kansas City. Now, Danny Lynch is just 4-8 on the year with an ERA of 4.58. The lefty's also got a 1.52 whip. And even if he throws well here today, the Royals did lose 7 out of their last 10, and they have a tough time producing runs. They're in the bottom 5 in homers, bottom 10 in runs per game. They're also facing Yu Darvish, who has double-digit wins on the mound, along with a 3.39 ERA. Now, Darvish also has 147 strikeouts and a stingy .99 whip. He's also backed by a Padres lineup who hits the ball better on the road than most clubs in the majors. These guys are currently in the top 3 in road scoring, and they're led by Manny Machado, who's hitting just about 300 at the plate. Of course, Manny's also the club leader in homers and RBI. Now, when it comes to the total, 3 out of San Diego's last 4 on the road did get over the posted total. Meanwhile, the Royals saw their last 4 at Kauffman Stadium get over the line as well. I'm going to lean toward San Diego minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next contest, Braves Cardinals, 7:15 East. Atlanta's minus $1.20, total 7.5. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Jordan Montgomery for St. Louis. Now, Jordy's a perfect 4-0 with his new ball club, and he has a razor-thin .35 ERA. And even if Montgomery finds trouble, the Cards are more than capable of keeping up with Atlanta offensively. They're in the top 5 in scoring, top 5 in OPS. Now, Paul Goldschmidt, he's leading the majors in batting average. The first baseman's hitting .338. He also ranks in the top 3 in homers, top 3 in RBI, top 3 in OPS. Now, he's facing Charlie Morton here today, who's got an ERA basically in the 4s. He's just, a hundredth of a digit. I don't even know what it's called, but basically, he's just a skoge shy of an ERA in the 4s. And I'll tell you what, out of Morton's last 7 starts, the Braves got the W only 3 times. And even though they're known for their hitting, The Braves do have a problem at the plate, and that's with strikeouts. They're actually in the bottom 3 in the bigs in strikeouts per 9 at the dish. When it comes to the total, the Braves have gone 61% to the over in their travels. Meanwhile, the Cards saw overs in 6 out of their last 10. I'm going to lean towards St. Louis plus $1, over 7.5. Next matchup, Giants, Twins, 7:15 East. Minnesota's minus 135, total 7.5. Sonny Gray for the Twins, Alex Cobb for San Francisco. Now, Cobb's just 4-6 on the year and has a 1.30 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Giants dropped 6 out of their last 8, and they've really had problems at the plate. They average only 1.6 runs a game in those losses I just mentioned. They're also facing Sonny Gray, who's 7-4 with an ERA in the low 3s. And not only does Sonny have a solid 1.12 whip, he's also averaging a strikeout an inning. Meanwhile, as a team, the Twins have had little issue hitting for power. They're actually in the top 10 in both home runs and OPS. Luis Arias is hitting a team-best .322 at the plate. He's actually 3rd in the entire majors in that category. Meanwhile, Byron Buxton, he's got a club-best 28 home runs. He's in the top 10 in the bigs in that category as well. Now, when it comes to the total, the Twins did see 5 out of their last 7 at Target Field fall under the number. They're also 75% to the under in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, San Francisco went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Minnesota minus 135, under 7.5 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Yankees taking on the Athletics, 9:07 Eastern first pitch. The New York Yankees are minus 240, totals 8 runs. Domingo Germán for New York, Adam Oller for Oakland. Now, Oller's just 2-6 on the year with an ERA of 6.41. The A's have also lost 6 out of their last 9. And they win only 31% of their games at the Coliseum. Now, their biggest issue this year has been their bats. Oakland's dead last in the league in team batting average, and they're also scoring only 3.4 runs a game for the entire year. Now, they're facing Domingo Germán here today, who's got himself a decent 1.27 whip, along with an ERA in the 3s. And aside from winning their last 5 straight, the Yankees still have the most dangerous lineup of hitters in the American League. They're leading the AL right now in scoring, and of course, they're leading the big leagues in home runs per game as well. Of course, Aaron Judge, he has a league-best 49 homers, along with 109 RBI. He's also leading the league with a 1.063 OPS. Now, when it comes to the total, the Bombers could very well put this thing over themselves. Oakland actually went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings. They're also 6-3 to the over in their last 9 Adam Oller starts. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees minus 1.5 and the over 8 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It is going to be Guardians taking on the Mariners, 10:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, Seattle's the $1.80 favorite at home, total 7 runs. Luis Castillo for the M's, Zach Plesac for Cleveland. And as bad as these guys don't want to win for Plesac this year, the Guardians are one of the better road hitting teams in the game. They're leading majors in road hits per contest right now. They also strike out fewer times a game on the road than any other club in the bigs. Now, Andres Jimenez, he is hitting a team best 304 at the plate. Meanwhile, teammate Jose Ramirez, he's 4th in the majors with 104 RBI. Now, they're taking on a Mariner team who has actually had their issues at the plate this year themselves. They're actually in the bottom 10 right now in runs per game, and they have one of the lower team batting averages in the American League. Now, total-wise, Seattle, they did see their last 4 in the Dome fall under the number. No real surprise there. Meanwhile, the Guardians went 4-0 to the under in their last 4 while traveling. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward Cleveland plus 1.5 and the under 7. With that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I like the Angels plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. Give me Boston plus 105, under 8.5. Philadelphia minus 1.5, over 9. LA Dodgers minus 1.5, under 6.5. And before we go ahead and move on, just another reminder that if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I like Cincinnati plus 1.5, over 8.5. Texas minus $1.10, under 8. New York Mets minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Houston minus 180, under 8 runs. Chicago Cubs plus 1.5, under 7.5. Chicago White Sox plus $1, over 8. San Diego minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. St. Louis Cardinals plus $1, over 7.5. Minnesota minus 135, under 7.5. New York Yankees minus 1.5, over 8. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are a red-hot 6-0 in our last 6 extra daily bets on my website. Give me Cleveland plus 1.5, under 7. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. If you guys do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.